Welcome to Life of Hair. My name's James Atkinson. Thank you for joining me in this week's episode. Now, this episode was an episode that I wasn't necessarily planning on making, but last Sunday I posted a video about baby lights and how to do a baby light technique, but I did not include the tonal phase of that. Now, a few of you did ask me in the comments, what toner did I use, how did I tone it, etc, etc. So I've made a quick video about the toner element of that particular technique. So I will link that video at the end of this one if you have not seen that already. But if you have, then keep your eyes peeled. I want to talk to you about a little technique that I use a lot on the shop floor, especially for highlights, and that is a root tap technique. Now, I have a special brush for root tap techniques. It's got very short bristles, which means I can do a very precise, accurate application on that first 5 millimeters of regrowth so that I can just diffuse the roots, and I think that that makes everything look more blended, softer and expensive. So I'm going to just run you through a way that you can create your own little brush if you haven't got one already, and I'll show you the one that I use as well. So this is the brush that I use in the video, and it's got a row of very short bristly teeth on it. Now, here's a brush that I don't use very much, and you can see it's got a diagonal tip on it. So I modified these brushes to create the specific brush that you see here if I don't have one of these available, if the bristles have gone all wonky. Okay, so let me show you how we do it. Let's get rid of this one. Get the brush. You need an old pair of hairdressing scissors, not your best hairdressing scissors because you'll definitely ruin them. And then you simply snip off the bristles till you've got a shortened brush. Just like that. Perfect. And now having this harder, shorter bristles will make all the difference when it comes to doing your root tap. It will be so much more precise and easy to do, and I promise you'll get on so much easier doing these really tight applications. Also, if you're doing a very small bleach regrowth, this is another fantastic addition to your toolkit. So I hope you found that really useful. Create yourself a little tool that you may or may not own already. And if you enjoy this video, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash the thumbs up. It really helps the videos. And I will see you again next week for another episode of The Life of Hair. For this particular technique, I am sectioning off the front hairline to leave it a bit brighter around the face. I will not apply my root tap technique to this area. For the rest, however, I simply get a small bead of colour on my brush and tap it along the first 5 millimeters where the highlights meet the scalp. In terms of product usage, I am using a 9 on the roots here, and I will use a 10 level on the ends. This means that there is a very low contrast between the two, but it will simply just soften those harsh, fresh highlights and give it a slightly more lived-in look. Not to the point where it looks like she's never had her highlights retouched, but it will certainly soften the regrowth in time also. I do this to nearly all my highlight clients these days. I think it makes such a massive amount of difference to how expensive my highlights look. And I know that can be quite a strange term, how expensive they look, but it is contrast, colour choice, placement, these all add up to how beautiful your highlights look or don't look. So if you're looking to improve your highlights, some of the factors that I've just mentioned are worth looking at. I repeat the process all the way through the head, just tapping that first 5 millimeters, and I am only tapping that first 5 millimeters to ensure that I do not turn this technique into a root stretch. I still want to see defined highlights coming from everywhere else other than that first 5mm. Up on the top right hand side of the screen, as you can see now, is my colour formulation for this particular technique, as I am simply just applying my toner through to the ends of the hair. Being careful not to overlap that first 5mm too much, because I do not want to stretch it down the head. This technique is not a root stretch. Allow to process for the full 20 minutes or whatever your manufacturer guidelines recommend. And this is the finished result. Whoever saw my video from last week on the placement of the foils, which will be linked at the end of this video, will know or have seen this particular result before. But it's an absolute beauty in my book, and if I could make all my blonde clients look like this, I think I probably would. Smash that thumbs up button if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and I will see you again next week for another episode of The Life of Hair.